columns and radio, theater and charity, and now a new novel. A conversation with one of Detroit's biggest champions and ambassadors, Mitch Albom. You've heard the refrain, real change in Detroit requires focusing on the neighborhoods. We'll talk with the people doing just that. Let yourself go. The new director of the Detroit Institute of Arts, Salvador Salor Pons, is here. And before the D drops on 2015, we wrap up the year that was. Today is Sunday, December 27th, 2015, and this is a special hour-long edition of Flashpoint. Hi, welcome to Flashpoint. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. And now, as we make the turn into 2016, we've got a full hour-long program for you this morning. It's going to include our annual look back and look ahead. It was a most tumultuous year on so many fronts. Now, I'm a guy who tends to focus on the positive, but I tend to think 2015 is going to be remembered for some rather awful things. The city of light ravaged by the darkness of the violent extremists of ISIS. Too many videos of out-of-control police officers leading to so many protests centering on the seemingly obvious plea that Black Lives Matter. Far too many mass shootings, some of them connected to terrorism, but most just simply terrifying. It was also a year of big smiles, however, from the first American visit of Pope Francis to a Women's World Cup victory, to those who celebrated the Supreme Court's ruling that made gay marriage the law of the land. But we end 2015 with a key focus on how to keep America safe, a concern magnified, I suppose, by a still enormous field of candidates for the presidency. A year ago, could I have convinced you that Donald Trump would be the front runner at this point? We'll talk about all of that this morning. We are also going to meet the new director of the DIA, the man who will steer it through the post-bankruptcy era of Detroit. We're going to take a closer look at life in the neighborhoods in the city. Many still believe they are the real barometer of the city's comeback. We're going to meet some of the district managers charged with that part of the task. And we're going to start with a conversation with Mitch Albom. He's got a new book out, but we're also going to talk about his recent remarks that seem to suggest his time at the Detroit Free Press may be drawing to a close. So it is a very busy morning. It means a full 60 minutes today on Flashpoint. Well, those of us who know Mitch Albom long ago decided that he works with a 30-hour day while the rest of us are stuck with the old 24-hour model. He has a new book out, The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto. He, of course, holds forth in the Detroit Free Press and at WJR, and yet he somehow manages to run what has become a huge charity in Say Yes Detroit. That doesn't even include the orphanage in Haiti or so many other projects. In fact, he brought me Detroit water ice products today. I forgot about that one as well. Didn't have time to mention it all. Mitch, thank you very much for being here.
Devin, anytime.
Really appreciate it. Let's start with the new book, which is being really well received. Your 7th book, but this one you finally wrote about something that a lot of us have known is near and dear to your heart forever.
Yeah, I started in music.
Yeah.
I was a musician first. It was only my failure in music that led me to writing.
We're lucky for that.
Well, I'm lucky for it, and I think it led kind of the book. At its core, I mean, Frankie Presto is this fictional guitar player. He's the greatest guitar player to ever walk the earth. He gets this magic guitar that has 6 magic strings that can change people's lives, and when he changes a life, a string turns blue. And it's a fantastical story, as people have come to know. He goes through the whole 20th century. It's sort of like Forrest Gump. But the message of the book is that everybody has a gift. Everybody has a talent. I thought my talent was music. I mean, my whole life, I thought that's what I was going to be. And when it didn't work out for me, I kind of stumbled into newspaper writing. I volunteered at a paper for free. And I found I had this gift of storytelling. And I was probably better at that than I was at music. And so Frankie Presto and the whole idea of blue strings is that if you find the one particular thing that you're good at, your gift, if you follow it, you can affect the world. And, you know, I try to get that message across to people who read it. Now,
a brilliant thing that you've done here, though, I can't believe that it's never been done before, but I've never heard of somebody putting together a soundtrack to go with a book. And that's part of your brilliance, too, but tell me about the genesis of that.
You know, writers want to be musicians, and musicians want to be writers. I've learned that, and so once
in fact, the band that you work with all the time made up of all the writers.
Right. Exactly. So once I stopped being a musician, I was no threat to other musicians, and I made a whole lot of friends in the music world. So I asked them if they would participate in this book, and so people from Tony Bennett to Wynton Marsalis to Darlene Love, Lyle Lovett, many others agreed to be in the book as characters who knew Frankie Presto and met him, fell in love with him, helped him out, all this kind of thing. And then after they did that, they said, you know, we could make a soundtrack out of this because you wrote about fictional songs. And so basically what they did was they took the title of the song that I wrote, some of the lyrics that I wrote, and the year that it was supposed to have happened, and they created songs. So they basically did remakes of songs that never existed.
That never were there.
And now there's a soundtrack to the Magic Strings of Frankie Presto that you can get as well.
That's a brilliant idea. I love it. I want to talk to you about so many other different things, but the first one, you made some comments recently that had people wondering if your time at the Free Press was maybe coming to an end. Your longtime editor headed into retirement, and it caught people's attention when you said, well, maybe it's time for me to... Now, a lot of people have wondered how in the world you've kept up columns and sports writing for all this time.
I should put an end to that now. I think that was just a reporter being irresponsible, and then a second reporter not calling me and asking me if the first reporter was being irresponsible. I probably was wistful, saying, yep, maybe it's time for me to go too, in that kind of way. Gene Myers was my longtime editor. Right. I loved him. I still do, and I sure miss him. But I'm not leaving anytime soon unless you have something to tell me.
I have
Maybe
no inside
Free Press
information.
told you something, but they've been great with me to allow me to do all the other things that I want to do in my life. The charity where I go to Haiti every month. I mean, it's not easy to be a full-time sports columnist if you're going to Haiti every month. But they've worked with me, and you know, they've allowed me to set a schedule that works for both of us. So at the moment, I'm not going anywhere.
You were a part of that very volatile chapter, of course, during the strike. It said a lot to people when you ended up going back to work. There was still some bitterness, I know, from people who aren't there anymore. Is that over, or do you still feel that every once in a while?
I don't. No, I don't really, unless somebody decides to write about it or make an issue out of it. I really don't. It's a long time ago.
But it was couldn't have been your favorite part of your time in Detroit.
It was maybe my least favorite time.
Yeah.
But it was a long time ago.
On to the other things that you're working so hard with right now. You just had a couple weeks ago your annual telethon for Say Yes Detroit.
Radiothon.
Radiothon. Sorry. Oh,
I know we're on TV, but
oh, right. I just exposed my own leanings. But you raised over $1 million this year. Phenomenal.
Yeah. The people of Detroit raised over $1 million. I just was a ringleader. You know, people donated over $1 million. The best part is that $1 million will be spent on the needy people in Detroit. We're 100% dollar in, dollar out. We have no administrative
Which is not easy to do.
No, it's not. And, you know, people say, how do you do that? Well, because I pay it out of my pocket.
You pay the administrative
But
costs.
I just don't, when I look at charities that say, well, you know, 60% of your dollar will go to help, and the other 40% will pay our salaries and pay for nice lobbies and artwork on the walls. I don't understand that. I never have. So the $1 million that we raise will go for everything from daycare for infants as young as 5 years old, of mothers who are in treatment or temporary housing, all the way up to senior citizens, with houses provided for working families, with scholarships provided for promising young people, for our rec center up at Lipke Park to provide an academic home as well as an athletic one for kids in Detroit. We've gotten very large, and to the point that I'm probably going to put a cap on it now, to the point, okay, I've learned that you don't just keep expanding and keep expanding. You have to manage the things that you have. We've got 9.
Once you're an aircraft carrier, there's things you can't do.
That's right. We have 9 separate charities, and we're going to make sure that they run at their optimum now. But that $1 million that we raised is a real tribute to the people of Michigan and Detroit who care about our city.
Yeah. You've seen enough of what doesn't work in Detroit, and yet so many people talk about we got to fix the neighborhoods, we got to fix education, all those things. What are you deciding works?
When you set a bar for people that shows that you believe in them, and not a bar that's so low that shows that you're pitying them, that's what I find works. So we went to Lipke, maybe the most dangerous neighborhood in Detroit, at least statistically, the 48205. And we said, we're not going to build something that's good enough for the 48205. We're going to build something that's good enough for Troy and Birmingham and whatever. And then we're going to hold people to an academic standard that's good enough for that neighborhood too. So you have to carry a 3.0 average or work towards it in order to come in and even bounce a basketball or throw a football with Matthew Stafford or whatever. When you set a bar of expectations high, and you'll get high results. If you set the bar low, you'll get low results. I don't believe in that, and I've learned that from you know, some people approach charity as pity. I don't. I just look at it as people who are less fortunate than I was, and I have an obligation to help people because I've had a great amount of fortune.
It's funny. Sometimes, I suppose if there's criticism of your books or your approach to things, that you have this sort of idyllic belief yet still in the goodness of people and that it has transformative power. I think you see that in the way you approach your charity. That must be an odd thing to hear as being criticized sometimes.
It's an odd world where that is something critical, but someone once apparently tried to be snarky about me by saying, oh, he's the king of hope. And I thought, that's the nicest thing you could possibly say about somebody. So if that's an insult, I'll take it.
That's not a terrible epitaph.
No, it isn't. And I do believe in people. I do believe in hope. I've seen some really bad things in my life. I've been witness to a lot of death, unfortunately, and exposed to a lot of stories because of Tuesdays with Morrie. You know, there's not a day goes by that somebody doesn't tell me a sad story about somebody who passed. I've learned that the best way that you can approach that is by focusing on the good that's left in life and the memories that you have. I've learned that when you go to a place like Haiti, you don't just stop by writing about, you know, the awful things that you saw there. You then do something about it so that you can see kids smiling there, you know. And I don't mind countering bad news with hope. I mean, personally, I don't know any other way to deal with it.
I remember a conversation you and I had years ago. We were talking about panhandlers, and you said, I only know how to deal with what's right in front of me, and that is certainly what you've done. That's stayed with me, too. Mitch, thanks very much for the time.
Sure, Devin, anytime.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
When we come back, your introduction to the new head at the Detroit Institute of Arts. We'll be right back on Flashpoint.